Hey, how's it going? Just marking some trees here. Kids just left. They were out for some engagement photos and a birthday. We had some bad news in the family here this past week, and everybody's kind of reflecting. And so today, everybody's gone, so I'm going to try and do a bit of work around the yard. So you can just see I marked a tree. Probably got about 6 trees I have to cut in the yard that are dead or dying, so might as well do them all at once. Just kind of reflecting on last weekend too. We had a bunch of stuff going on. Went down to Montana wolf trappers there. He had a little wolfers rendezvous, I guess, and everybody kind of shared some knowledge, and it was really good. I got a few clips of that. I'm not going to share too much of it. It's more for my learning, and maybe picked up a few tips, and I can share that with you later on. But don't want to make that video too long. Great group of people. I got stranded down there. Car broke down before I got there, and as down in Libby, Montana, and that town is just great. They helped me out with rental cars, got my vehicle towed, and then the guy Travis gave me a ride to Kalispell, and I flew out of there, and he let me sit his place, and can't thank that guy enough. But awesome guy, awesome group of people. Paul and John and a bunch of other people. I forget their names. Once I see them, I'll remember. But yeah, a few clips of that. But we had a bit of a journey. We had to go back to the border, get the tow truck driver to bring the car across, and all that fun stuff. So it was a bit of an adventure. So the car's back at home, and we can't get it in for another couple weeks. So it sits on the trailer till we get there. See what's wrong, probably a computer module, but I have to start getting ready for the season. So you'll see, clean up the yard a little bit and getting some of that stuff sorted. Still got to treat some traps, and this year we're hoping to get more on the line. It's supposed to be an early winter, quite a bit of snow, so I'm looking forward to that. I need to get some landowners permission for the resident trapper stuff. Some lands changed hands there as well. I got to go talk. There was a death in the family there, and feel bad for them. I don't want to go knocking on the door. They're probably still dealing with a lot of that stuff, but I know they wanted the land managed because they hunt it. So I want to get out there and get permission and maybe get a few baits going ahead of time, see what's out there. Anyways, traded a hoodie for one of mine. Awesome deal. And you'll see a few clips here. And thanks again for everything there, Paul and group, for organizing that. And we'll probably head out there next year and maybe bring a few more Canadians down. But we'll catch you in a bit. Morning, we're just on a bit of a road trip here. Decided last minute to head down to Montana for wolf trappers kind of get together. Put on by another YouTuber. Here's his channel. So we stopped and got a few snacks here over by Okotoks, and it's been a bit of a drive so far. 855 kilometers and another 4 or 5 hours to go here. Depends exactly where he lives, but it's a nice drive. Roads are good, nice scenery. Now I'm in the foothills of the mountains and heading south into Montana. We'll give you a bit of an update once we get to the border, and once we arrive at the event we'll show you some clips there too. We're going to be camping in a little tent. Didn't bring the camper down or anything like that. Just trying to make a quick, cheap trip down, and there you go. See you in a bit. Just at the border here, a little bit of a wait. We'll see what happens. Just waiting. It's about 2:30 now. See how long it takes us to get in here. And the line seems to be moving fairly fast. They should have been in the other lane. They're through already. But a bigger camper in front of me. and hopefully they don't go through at all, but the good times. It's kind of a crapshoot when you come to the border, which line's gonna be quicker, but we're starting to roll now, so catch you in a bit. Well, we made it through and we're just heading towards Rex Ford, I believe it is, and then we're gonna find our way from there. Roads are nice, beautiful country, lots of irrigation, trying to make things nice and green down here. Not too different from southern Alberta. Anyways, we'll touch base as we get a little bit closer. Well, get a load of this. I was just leaving Libby to head up to Paul's there, and then this thing crapped out just as last set of lights in town. They're doing construction. Went to go, it shuttered, then it shut right off, can't do nothing. I think a module's gone on it. Ford tech, awesome guy, Abe from Ford there, came out, took a look, says can't do nothing. So he gave me a ride to go get a rental car, and they were just about to close. This town closes pretty much at 5:30, but it just kind of worked out, everything lined up, and everybody was super helpful. Rental car lady, she was supposed to have left, but she stayed behind for another reason, so she was able to help me out. And now I got this new vehicle here to use for a bit, and then I got to figure out what we're going to do with that one here. Okay, more to come. We'll talk a little bit later. I better get up and get going. I already went up for a tour there and introduced myself. Met some good guys already. Just heading down to the campsite here. Up here is Paul's place, and a bunch of interesting people showing up already. Gonna head down to my campsite here and grab a few things. Hey there. Just down on the flats there, checking out some camping spots. Pitched my tent there. Hopefully we get good weather. Hey, Foxy. I was a little bit more shy.
Dave Warner from Canada is going to be doing a snaring demo. I'll be doing snow trapping, how I run my snow machine and how I trap off my snow machine, and snow trapping and the challenges of it in Montana over there. Levi Carlberg, we'll go from here back over to here and then down towards the end of the driveway. Levi does a really good bear den bear den set, and he catches wolves on that. It's a mock setup. And then Justin Webb will be coming somewhere.
Be right over the bank.
Right over the bank over here. And then later on this evening, Sean McAfee from the Mountain Man Show, he guides wolf hunters and stuff like that. So he'll be doing wolf calling and wolf hunting demo. Tom and Nancy Orr will be here sometime today, Will, and all that. There'll be more people showing up. If you have not signed up, this is all free giveaway. You know what I mean? Real grateful for the people that stepped up and gave to this cause. And what the cause is wolf trappers. You know what I mean? You guys, if you haven't started wolf trapping yet, you're going to figure out that it takes a lot of time, money, energy, dedication to it, and all of that. And so these people that donated and stuff realize that, and they're grateful for what you guys are doing for the wildlife. So I'm really excited about this. Justin Webb and Naomi's here at Foundation for Wildlife Management. If you have not signed up for the Foundation for Wildlife Management, whether you're a hunter or a trapper, even if you're just an elk hunter, you know, and you come in, let's say you're from Virginia. We got people from all over the place here. Let's say you're from Virginia, out here in Montana, you're deer hunting, buy a wolf tag, join the Foundation for Wildlife Management. Right now we're at what, $1,000 a wolf?
$1,750.
Yeah. If you're in this area, $1,000 a wolf, that'll pay for your airfare. You know what I mean? So you should not be out in the woods without an F4WM membership and a wolf tag. This is my opinion. Scott Dittmer, he came up. He's got wolf bait and bobcat bait and all kinds of stuff here. Bait maker. We got Mac. He's out of Idaho. You need your trapping supplies, whatever you need, he's got it. Tried to make this a one-stop shop. I didn't want to overload it with a whole bunch of dealers. One, I don't have the room, you know what I mean, and it helps that one dealer out that's here, you know. Jeff Schlink. Okay, Jeff Schlink is my garment maker. He's out of Cut Bank. If you guys got fur, you want to get hats made or whatever, that's the guy you want to go to. Okay, he makes for the Alaskan State Troopers. He does a lot of other stuff. He does all my stuff, and it's top quality stuff. It's really good stuff. Also, if you're from this area here, whether you're the Flathead or you're from the Libby area, he's going to be running a fur route here. So if you're a fur trapper, go talk to him. Okay, he's going to be start buying. He's going to buy twice a year, once in December for your fall fur, and then once towards the spring, late winter, or whatever for your winter fur. So you don't have to travel long distance to try to get your fur. By the time you get to an auction somewhere, we're so far out here, by the time you get to an auction, you have spent your money on gas and hotel that you're going to make at the auction or whatever. So he's going to be stopping at Happy's Inn. I got to talk to Casey Cole at Happy's Inn. Don't know that yet, but I'm going to talk to her about it, and she's going to be all cool about it. Let me think, what else? Go.
Thank you.
We'll be up there first.
Thank you, Paul, for putting this together.
Yeah, thank you, Paul.
Another thing, this is an appreciation for the people that follow me on my YouTube and my Facebook and the Mountain Men Show and all that. And my YouTube's like 21,000. It's going to grow some more after the show starts airing and everything for this season. But it's just like appreciation for that too, you know what I mean? So, but I couldn't, if it wasn't for the Mountain Man Show and all that, I couldn't live out here doing what I'm doing. You know, it's a great side job, you know. So, but yeah, I'd have to live in town, and that would suck. All right, we'll go up here and get started. I've trapped a bunch of different states, and started trapping in northern Wisconsin. I never really snow trapped up there. I was mostly a water trapper. Then I went to Tennessee, and then of course you're not trapping in the snow or nothing like that, you know. So it was a big learning curve moving up here, and I always thought it was going to be like you see the guys up in Alaska, you know, it's just powder snow and it's going to be really great, and I was really excited to go and get into it, and my first year was an absolute disaster. And then talking with a few other trappers, you know, they're like, yeah, no, this is the hardest snow trap you can. You got to get underneath a tree, and you know, and all of that, you know, and so I kind of refined it a little bit and just kind of got things figured out. I usually get about 2 weeks of really, really good snow trapping, and that's about all I get, you know. And it's just because of our freeze thaw is so bad. Heck, January, we got such a nasty January thaw here that, you know, December, you guys know, whoever's lived here forever, December, you just get dumped on with snow, and we can get down below zero and all that. Then January comes, we got 3 feet of snow on the ground. January comes in and hits 50 degrees and starts raining. You know, how can you trap in that crap? You know what I mean? So I don't even try. I don't even mess with it. You know, I mean, you're going to educate more wolves than you will catch wolves in them kind of conditions. I don't snow trap until it stays below, you know, even the highs for the day, you know, stays below 10. You know, I like to see, and a window of, you look in the forecast, in a window of like maybe 14 days of that. You know what I mean? Last year, I think I had a couple, 3 or 4 days, and that's about it, you know. And but let me go over to my machine. We'll start from the front here. I like an air-cooled machine, and it's just because of the snow conditions here. I like to keep my trail narrow. I don't like to, if I had a liquid cool machine, I'd have to always keep doing this in the powder and keeping it cool and cool it down. With an air cool machine, I can run down the asphalt. Last year I was leaving here in the mud. You get to the other end of my line, I finally, you know, hit 3 feet of snow. You know what I mean? So with the liquid cool machine, I couldn't do that. When we're filming, they get liquid cool machines. And I'm like, I'm waiting for them because they're waiting for their machines to, you know, to cool down. So I like an air cool machine. This one here, I like these boots, these hand boots on here, the handlebar boots. I can literally go with no gloves on and all that and run. I rolled this machine towards the end of the season last year, so I got to get a new handlebar on it. But I got 2 of the same, which works out nice. Like that one there, you see the lower A-frame is off the front end. That's because I broke this one, and then I just took it off of that one. I just got to order another one to put on. But I carry, I got this at Murdoch's, carry my gun, carry chainsaw, snowshoes. Just going to start going back, and then we'll get into a set. So we got to pretend that this is snow, okay? However you handle and do your scent control, I'm not going to go into that and all the theories and everything. Some guys are super anal about it, and that's great. You know what I mean? Some guys are really relaxed about it, and that's great. I don't know. It's a subject I haven't really dove into. What I do is I just do the best I can. You know what I mean? I do the best I can. It's difficult out there. You're in weird conditions and all that stuff, and it's really, really hard without putting a full rubber suit on and everything. Yeah, they are extremely smart. Their noses, I think, like I said, their noses are like how we see. That's how their noses are working. It's collecting so much information that I think it would overwhelm us. If we smelt like them, like the way they bring in information, it would overwhelm us. So, all right, so I chop out my beds like that. What I'm gonna do with this toboggan is I'm gonna shift everything forward. I have found that these, with these here, you really don't need a white trap, okay? You can use your black trap, because when this stuff goes in and you do that little bit of snow over the top of it, it just blends in so well that it's amazing. When I figured this one out, I was like, oh my God, you know, so. These Duke traps, got 3 in them last year. I take the pans and I cut them down. It's an old Wolford trick. You want that, you know, a large wolf, the foot is 6.5 long by 4.5 wide. And if that pan is out here like that, that wolf steps right here, it can set that trap off, and then you got a toe catch. I want that foot all the way in the center there. You know what I mean? I think the smaller pan is so much better. I know if you're a mink trapper, no, you want that big pan. You know, bobcat trappers want that big pan. But with wolves, they're so powerful and so strong. I like that small little pan. I want that foot all the way in there, you know. All right, so I will step off the back here because when I get done, I'll go ahead and get this all cleaned and blended in, you know. So this goes down here first. Now what that does there, that keeps it from freezing in. The styrofoam does. Like I say, we only get last year I think I had like, you know, just a couple days to trap like this, and then I was done. Just had to pull them up, you know what I mean? It's funny, when it thaws here, it thaws fast. And you could come back and your traps are like sitting like on top of the track, and you're like, you gotta be kidding me, you know? But and when I'm trapping in the snow, you know, well, first of all, in this box, I don't keep nothing but equipment. I don't keep my baits and lures or nothing like that. If you notice the urine that I do, those little urine containers, they're all up there. And that way, if I see something, you know what I mean, as far as urine I need to pick up, I can just lean over my sled and get it. I'm not coming back here and getting stuff out. Only equipment in this box, you know. So drags, so the drags of course would be attached, and you know the snow is deeper off to the side. It's most likely powder at 5-10 below or whatever. I take the drags and I just chuck them off that way, and they go down in the snow. I will take my, if the chain didn't go down, I'll take my shovel, I'll tap it down in, smooth that out the best I can, and then into the trail here, I'll cut a little track going down. I like to get them down, you know, minimum 4 inches so that my ski's not picking up, you know what I mean? And then just get everything blended in really nice. If I can pre-hook the drag, let's say around a small tree or whatever, I try to get that around that. Then I come back with these, and that goes over the top. Now you guys gonna have to have a little bit of imagination, so because I mean this is snow that we're dealing with. Over the top. The last thing you want to do right now is grab your sifter, and it's so tempting to do that. Just grab your sifter with that loose snow and sift a bunch of snow over the top of it. What's going to happen, snow is really weird to work with, and if you have to practice some of this in your backyard, you know what I mean, if you got dogs, and put boards over and see what happens the next day. Come back to the next day and pick that board up, and you're going to find if you sift that snow, you're going to change the consistency of the snow, you're going to change the makeup of it, and that's going to be rock hard. So how I cover these traps, first of all, I'm going to make sure that this thing is cold. You know what I mean? I might go ahead and stick that in the snow and get it to temperature. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm just covering this like, and you guys got to pretend this is snow, okay? And you know, just start covering this over the top, push down, you know, maybe a little chunk, you know, or whatever, and just cover it up. This is the track right here. Before, another little tip too, we can't do nothing about the exhaust off of our snowmobiles. It's gonna happen, but I think another problem is you stop your snow machine, let that sucker idle, that exhaust is right there, it's pumping fuel into the snow, you're getting a whole bunch of residue and everything right there. Right here, when I come up on my snowmobile, it's just a little bit, and all of a sudden you got a whole bunch right there. As you're coming up, driving up, shut that thing off. You know what I mean? You're gonna go, fire it up, go. Don't let it sit and idle and pound that in there. So. All right, so, oops. Now I need to go ahead and channel that wolf over the top of my set. Very, very, very subtle. Not a lot. Where did it hit?
We want to see how this works. Paul.
Yeah.
Can we test the dog?
I mean, it could be even that much. You know what I mean? You don't want to overdo it. You know what I mean? You don't want to alarm it. I'd even maybe, you know, to blend it a little bit, you know, a couple pieces down over there. So if he does get alarmed, he might get alarmed down there or whatever. Dust it off really good. A really good scenario is after I leave here, it snows about 2 inches of powder, you know, and then you're sleeping good. You're like, everything's covered up, everything looks good. And then you get that 2 inches of powder over the top of it, and this don't look like nothing, you know. So
3 days from now, when you come back, do you drive right over that?
no,
No.
not with the when I had the on that machine I could with the little 3/4 inch lugs, but with that one, no. I mean, I'll drive over it and they'll probably snap,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But what that does, then it loosens it up, at least here, it'll loosen it up, and then
What's your dog?
thank you. It'll learn them. It'll loosen up and then it'll tighten it up again. So you basically got to remake the set. So
So how are you bedding your track in that trap in the snow there, Paul?
how am I bedding it?
Yeah, how to keep it from wobbling.
Just the best you can.
You pack it down underneath.
No, I don't go through a lot of, you know what I mean? Because when they're coming down the trail, they're just kind of cruising. If it was like a lured set or a baited set where they're, you know, just kind of stepping around and, you know, they may step, then I'm worried about it. But here they're just cruising.
Okay.
You know, this is more like a mafia set, you know. That's another good set is, you guys know what a mafia set is? Mafia set, I think O'Gorman came up with it for coyotes. Let's say you're trapping out of your truck. The wolves, and if you got dogs, you can watch your dogs. They'll start running your tire track at about a certain depth of snow, let's say 8 inches of snow. You know what I mean? Because it's easier walking. Those wolves will run your tire track also of your truck, okay? Let's say you're trapping on private. So it's a deadly set. How I do it is I was able to do it 1 year over on the Gamma Ranch and really cleaned up the wolves on that ranch. Wolves started running my tire track, so I get out of my truck and where I park my truck, I'll go a little bit over to the side where I can get out of my truck and then get into the tire track. Okay, so I walk the tire track down to the back of the truck and then drop the tailgate. I might probably already have my trap set down the road and they're sitting on the tailgate. And then you set them right into the tire track on the trail. And I should have snapped these, but so how you set them up is let me show you real quick. And it's just a blind set. You don't want the wolves to stop. You just, no guiding or nothing. Just put it right into the tire track. I caught a cross-country skier this way. They were trespassing.
Was he prime?
Yeah. She was prime mad. So was the rancher too.
Did Justin still pay you?
Yeah. She was liberal. It was better yet. Yeah. All right, so this is a tire track here. Basically lever to lever, just like that, right in the tire track. And through the jaws, this is be over the jaw. This is through the jaw, set them through the jaw. If you can do that, and the wolves are running down that, it's the Mafia set. You could probably find it on YouTube or something like that. Most guys are gonna be showing it about coyotes or whatever. Just upgrade it for wolves. And what I would do is and of course, throw your drags off to one side, both drags off to one side. I'd go down about 30 yards and then do another set. So you just ate up 4 traps. You know what I mean? They go quick. But absolutely deadly set. No urine, no nothing. You know.
I started trapping in 1999 actually, and I bought my first trap line, or my only trap line now, in 2002. Caught my first wolf in 2004. My trap line runs from just north of Tom Orr's line actually. It's a Gilnockie drainage, and it runs into the Ak River about a half a mile above the border. So it's about 125 square miles. We're allowed to catch as many wolves as we can, snaring, trapping, whatever we need, shoot them. We can shoot them anywhere, 3 wolves, but on my line, I can kill as many as I want. What else?
Alright, you guys, Levi Karlberg, local here out of Libby. He's probably one of the best wolf trappers I know. He's fastly becoming the local legend. But he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve, thinks really out of the box, and I really look up to the guy. So, Levi Karlberg.
Over the course of the last 10 years or so, I've constantly come across in the winter small black bears that have been pulled out of the den and eaten by the wolves and just stretched out and left there, and it's very easy to see what's going on. But they're always the smaller ones, not the big ones, because obviously if they try to eat a big one, they're going to get messed up. And I think a bigger one finally figures out that he needs to go to a more safe spot. Them little ones, they don't always pick a great spot to sleep. So if you make a spot like this and dig it in there as far as you can get, further than I did. This is just kind of a demo, and get it way back in there. Not only, you know, to keep away from the birds won't see it way back in there, and your bait will stay there. You'll have all kinds of critters coming and going and stuff, but if you happen to go, let's say, spring bear hunting and you kill a smaller bear, you're not going to do anything with the hide and the feet and all that stuff. Maybe throw part of it in the hole, and when they come by, they'll go grab that parts, and then just basically turn it into a big dirt hole set. Just throw a whole bunch of bait in there and have a camera watching it, one that won't scare them away, watching the hole to see when they're coming and going and what they're doing. And I usually put a couple cameras so I can see what's going on, what trail they're using to come to it and stuff. And I will set like right in front of it, and then I'll usually set one on the trail on that side and one on the trail on this side away from it. And I have lots of pictures on my phone of them just coming right into it, and like during rifle season, going right on in there, and a couple wolves sitting beside watching, and bobcats, lynx, wolverine, and marten all on the same camera at the one, going in there and getting stuff out of it. So it's a pretty cool deal, really. And if you start like right after spring bear or something, go make the hole and get it started then they have lots of time to get used to it and decide that it's okay. So when it comes right around to trapping season, as soon as you throw something there, they don't even have a guard, they just walk straight in.
So you're putting a trap right in front of the hole?
Well, right here in this one, it would have to be right here. But if they were to make it an actual bigger hole and make it go back there like 6 feet, you could slip one back in the hole, and weather would never get it, and it would stay good all season. You wouldn't have to worry about the freeze thaw, nothing. And on top of that, if you found a location on the north side of the mountain, it's not gonna, the snow's not gonna melt hardly at all, because the sun doesn't hit there.
Right.
And if you pick a spot between two big fir trees that are going to shed most of the snow on top of that, even if it was out, it would be okay.
So you're starting at in the summertime?
Yes, at the beginning of summer is best. That way, you know, it's slow. We don't really have much going on.
Right.
Go out and tinker around with something like that for a while, get it going, and
You ever find any other bears coming trying to use it, or?
you know, I have never had a bear on it.
Right.
Well, actually, I did out south of town. I had one bear, a chocolate bear that went to it a lot. But the one that I caught them on, no.
Right.
The other one south of town, that it had a black wolf going to it all the time and a chocolate bear, but I never ended up setting it. I found a spot that they were going even more. No, just anchor it right there. And then the ones on the trail were a drag. They were slow set with a drag. It's not like right beside the road or nothing either. It's like on a steeper hill like this, and somewhere where you think they're already hanging to stay cooler in the summer, and then they go there in the winter too usually. So, and it usually at least 4,000 feet of elevation. I don't know why that seems to matter, but it does. They seem to be a lot more comfortable up there.
So most of yours at 4,000?
Yeah, around that area is where I usually put them.
How many traps would you usually put in an area where you put a bear trap like that?
3 or 4.
Just a couple on the trail and one at the
Yep.
hole.
That's usually about what I do. And I was thinking about Paul's demo earlier. He was talking about when he snow sets, you only have that window of when the snow's good to use those snow sets here. I figured out another way to keep trapping and using that snowmobile track, because they're still using that. If you, after it's too cruddy to use the snow set, if you make a hole right behind your snowmobile, put that trap in there, and then cover it up with fine dog straw and little pieces, you know, and make it 10 feet long or something, and put a few different traps in that, and then, you know, bed it a little bit in dog straw, and then still use a pan cover, and then put a little bit more, the fines of the dog straw over the top of that, and then the moisture will go through the straw all the way and be gone too, until we get another fresh batch of snow. And then if you wanted to, you could just drive there and pull them back up and put them fresh right back in the track again in the snow, and they'd have that added scent from hound dogs to stop and check it out anyway, and it just works in your favor.
Yeah, dog box bedding is magic. Yeah.
And I mean, we don't have very long to trap anymore, so you got to kind of try to get creative. And I mean, the snow set is definitely a killer, but sometimes that just screws you up when it's crusty and bad. But when it's crusty, like Paul said, when they can walk on top and go anywhere, then it's not going to do any good to put that in the snowmobile track. It's when it's just wet and it's not going to work because it freezes at night.
Behaviors, and then I go over sets and everything at the end to get through this part and get you guys down here in the shade where it's a little more comfortable. We're going to do things a little bit backwards. So first of all, just out of curiosity, not knowing for sure what the audience is like, how many of you have caught a wolf before? Raise your hand. Okay, so quite a bit of experience here. That's awesome. How many of you have ever seen me do a demo before? So, okay, thanks. Just kind of lets me know a little bit about what to cover and what not to repeat 50 times. So my name is Justin Webb. I'm the Executive Director for the Foundation for Wildlife Management. We reimburse hunters and trappers up to $2,000 for every wolf you harvest. It's based on a membership process. We'll go over that a little bit when we can get in the shade and be a little more comfortable. But my trapping experience really started out of necessity, wanting to help elk and moose. what I was witnessing take place at home in North Idaho, grew up in Sandpoint. It was just devastating to me, seeing moose with their hind ends chewed out and left to rot. Elk being completely displaced from the mountain ranges that they had once been abundant in. I wanted to help, and I wanted to try to make a difference. I learned really quick that wolf trapping is not for the faint of heart. It's the most challenging animal I've ever personally pursued. People oftentimes think that because I am the executive director for the foundation that I hate wolves, and I don't hate wolves. I just wish they didn't reproduce so dang fast. That they didn't have such a large impact on our ungulate species. I had never trapped anything in my life when I started trapping wolves, and I think in some ways that makes it easier for me because I didn't have a false expectation going into it. That's a lie. I did. But I didn't have prior experience to lead me to be so disappointed when I started wolf trapping. In my opinion, the most important part of wolf trapping is patience and persistence. The guys that catch consistently every single year are the guys that don't give up when there's 3 feet of snow on the ground and then it rains 6 inches and everything freezes down and they have to reset everything that they have put in the woods. The guys that throw in the towel consistently call and are disappointed that they haven't made a catch or they only catch 1 or 2 wolves. I can tell you from experience, the guys that catch every year a half a dozen wolves or more are the ones that are sticking it out from day one till the close of season. Here in Montana, you guys have been really hamstrung with what you had for seasons and what you have for opportunity, tools, etc. And hopefully we can get that turned around. I'm going to start out here just showing you the one set that I think has been the most productive for me personally. I found a rendezvous site by accident. I was guiding an elk hunter, dropped into a little meadow in the bottom of a creek draw in an area that's completely thick, dense, heavy timber, and there was a dead bull elk in the bottom of it. There was obviously wolf tracks around. It was a rendezvous site. I knew that because there were chewed up gloves and bucket lids and pieces of garbage from people's campsites. There was little pieces of rope. There was all kinds of garbage. And at first, had I not found a rendezvous site prior, I would have thought some idiot went in there and stacked all their garbage and left it for the bears to get into. Wolves, just like any other puppy, like to pick stuff up and carry it around. So I drop into this meadow, I find this rendezvous site, I get my clients out of there as fast as I could get them out of there without them knowing what I was up to, and I went back in there, and the following year, I went into setup, trying to figure out the best set location, and I could not find the spot that I knew in my heart I could catch a wolf. And so what I did, knowing that P-posts are really productive because wolves are so territorial, I went into the middle of their meadow, which has 3 fingers that all tie together at one location, and that's where the majority of the wolf track that I found in the dirt was located. This is in the month of June, and I went and I dug up a little fir tree exactly like this one here in front of me, and I planted it right in that intersection of their trail. I anchored a trap in front of it, and when I came back in a couple of weeks, I had a wolf anchored there. I then had a burn circle that was about 12 foot across, all the way around, all dug up. My tree was gone. The spot was basically ruined as far as using it as a P-post set, but I set the outskirts of that and I caught another wolf. Since that year, that season, I bet I probably pulled 15 to 20 wolves out of that meadow, and the majority of those have come from the main P-post tree that I continue to plant in the middle of that meadow. So a planted P-post is what I call it, and people question me on this, but I literally go dig up a tree, root wad and all. Typically I have a 5-gallon bucket with me to carry all of the soil when I'm digging the hole out. I'm just going to toss it behind me, but I'm basically putting that in a bucket, carrying it away to somewhere else. I'm looking for a tree that's bushy and going to stand out and that it's going to catch a wolf's attention. I want it to stand upright vertically, and so I'm going to plant it exactly that way. I'm going to make sure that the roots are not exposed in any way, shape, or form by taking my shovel that doesn't have a handle on it and tamping that down all the way around it to make sure that the root system, the tree has a chance of actually making it. I'm going to stomp it all down, and I'm going to pour a bucket of water from the creek over the top of that tree. in hopes that that tree is going to live. Then everybody asks about trap placement. Typically, for me, this is about 18 inches, my hands together. So from the center of the P-post out 18 inches and about 4 inches offset, one side or the other, is where the center of my pan is going to go. So I just come out, dig my trap bed. Typically, my jaws close towards the tree, or my dog is towards the tree, I'll say. I'm not going to dig a full trap bed here and bed a trap, but just so you get the picture. I'm going to level that off. I'm real big on blocking because I've missed some wolves and I've learned you can block wolves really hard. So similar to what most people would do a bobcat, my traps are blocked in heavy. I want him to have one spot he can put his foot. It's going to be on my pan. If this knapweed was not on the other side of this tree, there would be another trap bed exactly like that opposite of it here. Both traps are going to go on drags. My drag hole is not going to be in my trap bed. It's going to be over here somewhere. I'll run my chain down the trench that I dig a hole up underneath the grass, shove my drag in there, bury my chain out in front of that, make sure the drag's buried deep, smooth this all back in, take my grass out of the meadow, break it up over the top of everything, and away I go. Spray it with coyote urine, and then I use a wolf gland lure if I can get my hands on it, otherwise coyote gland lure, by just taking my stake driver, pushing it into the base of the tree right there, spraying that with urine and walking away. Typically when I've been doing this is the month of June. By the time I get back there to set it in September, the coyotes have marked it, the wolves have found it and have marked it themselves. So when I get back, I spray it again with my coyote urine, I set my trap bed is already all dug out, all the rocks are gone, the roots are gone, I've got sifted soft soil in there that's easy to dig my trap bed into. I set my trap in waxed dirt, or waxed sand preferably, and that's my basic set. The reason I chose this spot to show you guys is because this mimics to me what I commonly see wolves utilize. We're in pretty dense heavy timber all the way around us. This is a meadowy spot. Imagine the house and all the vehicles and everything gone. There's a ridge up here that just looks wolfy to me. It was interesting to go up there yesterday afternoon and find how wolfy this open ridge line and the top of this looked, because when we went to go set up our camp over at the gravel pit last night, Naomi and I walked down the little road that comes into the gravel pit, and there's 5 wolf piles in that road here 200-300 yards up above the house. If wolves were traveling this direction across this drainage that we're in, I could see them dropping down out of the timber right here and coming to this big open patch. They like open country. In my ground, there is none. So every time there's an open meadow in a creek bottom, if they've got water in a little meadow, even if it's only 30 yards across, those wolves are going to find it, and they use those a lot of times for rendezvous sites. This spot, if you really look as you come up here, you can kind of see a natural travel corridor. There's a trail that goes out kind of around those trees and up that ridge, and one that comes in right over there by those 2 black stumps if you lined up. So when I build a set, I tell myself never set only one trap. If I'm going to set one, I'm going to set 3, and if I set 3, I'm going to try to make myself set 6. I'm not a good trapper. I work hard at it, and the reason I'm consistent is because I refuse to give up when everybody else does. For that reason, it'll take me a full day to get a half a dozen or a dozen sets in the ground sometimes. I'm also very picky about my trap placement. A lot of guys think if you just go in there and sling a bunch of steel, sooner or later you're going to connect. For me, when a trap goes in the dirt, it's not coming out till season's closed. And so unless the snow gets so drastically deep that I can't get them to drop into the trough that I dig when I feather the snow back from my trap to keep it clear and operable, at that point I will actually lift the trap. But if I don't have to lift that trap because of that reason, I'm going to keep using that trap in the same waxed dirt exactly as I said it the first time, and I'm not going to set it unless I know in my heart I can kill a wolf there. I spend too much time and work too hard keeping the traps that I have operable to waste my time trying to maintain traps that are only mediocre. So when I build a trap set, of course I say that, I'm gonna change it up on you. When I build my trap set, I've got one set that I really think is gonna kill a wolf, and then I know, being a pack animal, if I do it correctly, I get in there, I get them dispatched quick, clean, quiet, and get the heck out of there, that within 3 nights typically, other wolves are gonna come look for that wolf that they last saw alive standing in my trap. For that reason, when I get back and there's a wolf standing here, the last thing I want to do is have to go leave my scent everywhere I go to put in another half a dozen sets to be able to catch wolves that night when they come back, or the next night. So when I set my one trap, I want to get at least 3 in, oftentimes 6, knowing that most of my wolves are educated already. Most of them have seen my traps numbers of times for numbers of years. Most of them have seen half a dozen wolf traps, different wolfers trap sets. Keep in mind when I tell you what I'm going to share with you that my wolves are spooked. They're jumpy, they're flighty, they know me, they're very jumpy. If I catch a wolf here and it's on a drag, first thing he's going to do typically is go downhill. He'll pull a direction. If that thing doesn't instantly go the direction he wants to go, he's going to turn downhill. He's going to be tangled up somewhere right here, typically right here in these little pine trees there. The first thing I'm looking for on location for my next set is where are those wolves going to stop to scan the area when they come to look for him. So if he doesn't get out of the clearing and he's still in the clearing, I know that as they come off that ridge up there, they're going to be all kinds of skittish, and they may hang up on the top of this little short ridge here. And when they come through this timber over here, they're going to either hang up at that first black stump, because that's the first spot they can get a good clear look at him, or they're going to come as close as the second stump, and they're going to stop right there and investigate and look and watch. Now, if he was hung up down here in these trees, which is my expectation, he's not going to stop at the first stump because you can't get a good look at that wolf from there. He's looking for it. So he's going to come to the second stump. When we leave here, we're going to walk over there, and I just want you guys to get the look at the location. I built a little set. I went ahead and sifted the soil in there so you can see where the set is. And I want you to understand the reason that I chose that spot to set. Canines are often real similar, from your house dog to a coyote to a wolf. A lot of their behaviors are very similar, even though they're very different at the same time. But they like to get up on something to look. You guys might notice a coyote will hop up on every little knob. They'll crap on top of every little elevated rock. They'll mark every little stump that sticks up out of the ground. A high hump spot like this, where it's kind of elevated like this and then it drops off. A wolf will utilize this very commonly. Any spot that's elevated. In my mind, I'm a wolf coming from down there looking across this little clearing. This is a ridge and a flat spot that's elevated. So this is a natural spot for them to want to come to in the first place. Then odds are, regardless of which direction they're coming through here, if they're using this valley, this direction in their travel corridor, they're going to want to come right through the open part of this meadow anyhow. Then on top of that, I'm using their instincts against them. They can't stand having another canine in their territory. So when I spray this with coyote urine, most of the time, they're going to come and hit it. Caveat to that, I also trap with my dogs. You might have seen them running around up above here, the 2 little chocolate labs. Those girls are with me every time I set a trap. And so not only do I have the pee post, do I have the urine. I love that Paul brought up in his demo the concept of pee post not working sometimes because there's no other canine sign or anything around it. It's just urine by itself. Everywhere I go, my dogs are leaving scent from the glands in their pads, just the same as coyotes and wolves have glands in their pads. So I do believe that gives me a little bit of an edge. That's part of the reason why I choose this location. Does that make sense to everybody? The reasoning why I'm here and not, down over the bank or up higher or over at the beginning here. So my next 2 sets that I put in, if this was number 1, are going to be somewhere over here where they're going to stop to look for this wolf, or somewhere over here where they're going to stop coming this direction to look for this wolf. sometimes they'll circle and come up from up underneath, depending on what direction the wind is blowing and what's going on there, but you can't predict that all the time. So that's a little bit more difficult to work out. If you guys want to just take a short walk with me over here, before we leave, I guess, any questions about the planted T-pose? Okay.
Well, quite the event there. Just trying to get back to Canada. Vehicle broke down, and great help there with the fellow trappers. I'd like to shout out to Travis there for running me all over the place, from wolf trappers all the way to Libby and then over to Kalispell. Now I'm in the airport getting ready to fly back. Looking forward to get back on Canadian soil. Well, we got the car back there. Came across the border good with the tow truck. We picked it up, and now we strapped the snot out of it. So hopefully make it back to good old Alberta. No issues. So now we're just on our way back up, and about 10 hours from here, we will be at home in our own beds. And our vehicles back at home, the way they should be. Anyways, we'll see you in a bit.